Hello Tigers, and welcome to the TMN TV newscast for Monday, April 22nd, 2019. Stay tuned for the latest news at Fort Hays State University and around Northwest Kansas and the nation. I'm Braden Holacek, and shortly we will be taking a look at what's going on around the globe. Then Lexi Gross will fill you in on what's happening in the sports world. But first, here's what's making news in Tigerland. A Fort Hays State Honors College student, Taylor Tustin, was recently awarded the prestigious Mid-America Athletic Training Association Professional Undergraduate Scholarship Award. Tustin, a Gove senior majoring in athletic training, received her award at the Mid-America Athletic Training Association Hall of Fame and Awards Banquet in Tulsa. The Mid-America Athletic Training Association is a professional organization for athletic training that includes 7 states within the Midwest. The award is open to all undergraduate students from the 7 states. Tustin was one of 2 applicants to receive the award. A spring carnival will take over the Gross Memorial Coliseum parking lot during the evening of Saturday, April 27th, courtesy of Fort Hays State University's Activities Board. President of UAB, Jacob Schoenfeld, says the mission behind Jammin' into Summer is to create a stronger connection between the campus and the public in order to better showcase what the city of Hays as well as the FHSU campus has to offer. 6 different carnival rides, booths hosted by campus organizations, food, magician Brian Miller, and a concert by Parmalee will all be a part of the carnival. Admission is free. The only thing that must be paid for is the carnival booths or food. The carnival begins at 5 p.m. and the concert will start at 7:30. This event is open to the public. USD 388 Ellis has named a new principal for the 2019 to 2020 school year. According to Hays Daily News, Donna Schmidt will begin her duties later this summer. Schmidt received her master's degree in 2002 from Kansas State University. She was also a teacher at Junction City High School for 11 years, as well as an assistant principal at Seaman High School for 13 years. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly has agreed to sign Senate Bill 130. According to Tribune News Service, this bill will make it more convenient for Kansas citizens to vote. The new Suitable Way is an app that will help to eliminate voting conflicts. For example, if you do not want to go to a public place, you can vote on the app or on your phone or computer. Kelly says the app has the potential to help balance out election traffic, reducing lines at some of the busier voting places. Kelly signed the bill last week on the April 15th deadline. Dialogue Coffee House, the new coffee shop with a unique purpose, has just opened in Topeka this past week. This purpose helps to employ adults with disabilities. According to Tribune News Service, 25 positions have already been filled so far. Some of these adult employees say this job makes them feel excited and independent. Caitlin Halsey, the developer of the coffee shop, says she hopes both the employees and customers see that everyone has a purpose, capabilities, and potential. She also added the feedback has been encouraging. Local elected officials have met this past week to learn about the Kansas Expo Center renovations. According to Tribune News Service, a recent document includes a proposed plan of more than $790 million in improvements for the Capitol building in Topeka. Other plans looking to renovate the Expo Center are projecting to cost nearly $50 million in project money. Community directors in Topeka say these renovations would likely levy a 1% sales tax. This is in addition to the sales taxes those people already pay now. These revenues would also be used over 22 years to reimburse private funding to finance a proposed $18 million project to redevelop that property. Brian Hill, a retired Topeka police detective, was elected as Shawnee County Sheriff by the Shawnee Republican Party. In the final round of 3 for voting, according to Tribune News Service, Hill received 51% of votes to be elected. Hill started working for the Topeka Police Department in 1991 before retiring in 2017. Hill says he is honored that the people chose him to be sheriff of Shawnee County, and he's excited about the possibility of going to work. Deputies in Shawnee County are searching for a man that escaped from them during a traffic stop last weekend. 23-year-old Tanner James Thompson was stopped by deputies while driving at 3 a.m. in Shawnee County. Police took him into custody for a felony warrant for burglary and other charges, and while the police investigated and searched his car, Thompson escaped from them. A Topeka man has been convicted in a shooting death of another man from last year. A jury in Shawnee County convicted 33-year-old Tony Lee Foster of second-degree murder in the shooting that killed 36-year-old David Payne. Last July, officers responded to a shooting at a home and found Payne with a gunshot wound on his torso. He later died after being rushed to the hospital. According to Tribune News Service, Foster will be sentenced at a later date. Kansas child welfare advocates have grown frustrated with the pace of foster care fixes. These advocates see what they believe as a lack of recommendations from the legislature to fix the troubled foster care system. Governor Laura Kelly says she understands the frustrations, but she argues lawmakers are making progress. She also mentions long-term problems will be difficult to fix. According to Tribune News Service, more than a dozen members of a child welfare task force have signed a letter urging lawmakers to do more to address the problems in the system and provide better foster care. The deadline to apply for SBA federal loans is approaching soon. The May 13, 2019 deadline for economic injury are set to offset economic losses because of reduced revenues. According to the SBA, small non-farm businesses, small agricultural cooperatives, small businesses engaged in aquaculture, and most private nonprofit organizations of any size may apply for economic injury disaster loans of up to $2 million to help meet working capital needs. The interest rate is 3.61% for businesses and 2.5% for private nonprofit organizations, with terms up to 30 years. Loan amounts and terms are set by SBA and are based on each applicant's financial condition. The SBA has announced 7 new cluster awards to advance small business growth. The addition of these new clusters raises the total number of SBA-supported clusters to 14. The clusters exist to help small businesses thrive through purposeful, strategic, and focused economic development. The clusters work together as networking hubs to maximize their resources, allowing them to compete on a larger scale. These new clusters will attract, create, and grow new business startups throughout several regions of rural America, expanding the connectivity of technology and promoting business formation while fostering innovation, commercialization, business acceleration, mentorship, and sustainability. The SBA provided significant and intensive outreach to recruit new clusters, drawing an overwhelming response from a wide range of diverse geographic areas and industries. The response was further greatly enhanced due to the critical partnership between the SBA and the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The Saline County Commission has continued to discuss ways in which to reduce overcrowding in the Saline County Jail. According to Tribune News Service, Saline County has recently hired consultants to study jail overcrowding. Saline County Commission Chairman Bob Vidrickson said the public misunderstood the Commission's study regarding the jail. He says the public believes they are wanting to build a new jail. That has not even been thought of yet. Vidrickson added he looks forward to hearing suggestions for possible solutions from the public. When we return from the short break, we will update you with news from around the globe.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes, and you can do it here. So what are you waiting for? Just go to the site.
Hello Tigers, I'm Braden Holacek, and here's what's going on around the globe. An armed right-wing militia group known as the United Constitutional Patriots has detained about 30 migrants who had just crossed the border in Sunland Park, New Mexico. The group is being condemned by the American Civil Liberties Union, who stated that they are not police or law enforcement and have no right to be detaining anyone. The group had stopped a large group of nearly 100 immigrants traveling into the United States on Friday morning, according to U.S. Daily News. The ACLU stated, "We cannot allow racist and armed vigilantes to kidnap and detain people seeking asylum," in a letter to New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham. They also expressed how their actions undermine the efforts of actual armed forces. After the April 12th attack of a 5-year-old boy in the Mall of America, sources say the young boy is showing real signs of a recovery. Prosecutors have charged Emmanuel Aranda with attempted premeditated first-degree murder charges after he threw the young child over a third-floor balcony. The child suffered brain trauma as well as multiple broken bones. Following the fall of 40 feet, the boy's parents say he is on a long road to recovery, and their GoFundMe page has raised nearly $900,000 to go towards his intensive medical procedures. An earthquake struck Taiwan Friday afternoon, classifying at 6.1 magnitude. Affected areas include Japan, the Philippines, and Taiwan. The country faced an earthquake of similar force nearly 1 year ago that killed 17 people and left hundreds injured. CNN reported only minor injuries were sustained and there were no fatalities. The large magnitude forced the country's metro system to shut down, though no major damage occurred. 2 California parents have been sentenced to life in prison for the severe abuse on their 13 children. David and Louise Turpin both pled guilty to counts of torture, willful child cruelty, false imprisonment, and cruelty to an adult dependent. The case opened in January of 2018 when one of the children escaped their restraints, climbed out of the basement, and dialed 911. The house was then searched and seized by police forces. As of recent, the children released testimonies bidding for their parents to receive minimal sentences, even requesting their restraining orders be lifted. Of the children, the 2 eldest are both living successful lives, attending college, and working full-time. They both stated the pain and suffering they endured benefited their lives and that they forgive their parents for everything. A female zookeeper was attacked Saturday morning by a Sumerian tiger at the Topeka Zoo. The victim was immediately transported to the hospital after suffering lacerations and punctures to the back of her head, but quickly returned to a stable condition, according to a press release. As of Saturday afternoon, Topeka spokesperson Molly Hadfield stated that the tiger will not be euthanized. The tiger exhibit was, however, shut down for the remainder of the day and reopened the day after. The zoo's primary keeper, Brendan Wiley, shared that the tiger reacted the way any animal would and did nothing wrong. 20 years after the tragic Columbine shooting, a Florida woman threatened a repeat attack on Colorado schools. Sol Payas was described as infatuated with the infamous shooters and traveled to Colorado last Wednesday. According to special investigators, she was heavily armed. All Colorado schools were shut down in response to the threat. SWAT and police forces later found her deceased in a secluded area outside of Denver. She was found with an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. 2 days later, Columbine alumnus and community gathered to remember the lives lost in the shooting. The ceremonies of remembrance were described as peaceful and cathartic for those in attendance. Another Florida-based threat was reported on Saturday afternoon. 2 teens were taken into custody after a school teacher found a notebook belonging to them which contained detailed drawings and descriptions of murder. The report stated specifics such as weapons, locations to hide the bodies, names of 9 victims, and what they would say to authorities if questioned. The 2 are currently awaiting trial, facing 9 counts of conspiracy to commit murder and 3 counts of conspiracy to commit kidnapping. Suicide bombers targeting Christians kill hundreds in Sri Lanka Sunday morning. At 8:45, the first bomb struck St. Anthony's Shrine, where many gathered for Easter Sunday worship. Within the next 3 hours, 3 more churches and 3 hotels were struck in similar fashion. Over 200 people were killed, with roughly 450 were injured. 13 suspects were arrested in connection to the bombings after 1 bomber blew himself and 3 officers up outside of their hideout. Recently, the University of Kansas health system reported on a syphilis outbreak in rural areas. This is becoming more of a problem as smaller areas may not have adequate health services to treat this illness. According to Dr. Dana Hawkinson, it is important to get checked regularly as this illness can linger for years, showing no signs of its presence. This can cause complications of syphilis, which can lead to infection of spinal fluid, oftentimes becoming fatal. The best advice for those who may be worried about this outbreak is to limit sexual partners, get checked out if anything seems strange, and identifying any small rashes on the skin. The Supreme Court is scheduled to hear 3 new cases of discrimination this fall. The first case covers the alleged firing of a skydiving instructor from New York. He has since passed, but his sister and partner are continuing to press charges within the case. Similarly, a Georgia man was fired from his job as a child welfare services coordinator due to his sexual orientation. In the final case that will face the Supreme Court, a transgender woman named Amy Stevens was fired from her job at a funeral home. She had previously been employed there for 6 years and was fired shortly after making her transition. As crowds enjoy the nice weather and music at the 2019 Coachella Music Festival, authorities are investigating grisly events that occurred near the fairgrounds. A woman was taken into custody in connection to a bag of puppies tossed into a dumpster. The 7 small pups were reported to be only days old. Video camera footage shows the young woman pulling up to the dumpster in a white Jeep and tossing the small bag into the dumpster. Miraculously, all 7 pups survived despite severe dehydration and malnourishment. They received treatment and will be put up for adoption after reaching stable condition. That's what's happening in the news world this week. Stay tuned for a sports update with Lexi Gross when we return.
Hey, Dad. Do we have a gun?
Why do you ask that, kiddo?
Welcome to TMN TV Sports. I'm Lexi Gross bringing you a sports update. A Fort Hays golfer has been named the All-MIAA team. Senior golfer Hannah Perkins was listed as a first-team performer for her outstanding season. This is the second time she has earned this status as a Tiger. She led the team with a 77.06 stroke average this season and was the top Tiger finisher in all 8 of FHSU's tournaments this season. Perkins will be competing in the MIAA Championship this week and will await her draw in the NCAA Division II Central Regional later on. Both Fort Hays golf teams will be competing in the MIAA Championships this week. The men are scheduled to tee off on Tuesday while the women begin competition on Monday. Results were not available at the time of recording, but stay tuned for next week's newscast for a follow-up. The Fort Hays track and field team had successful finishes over the weekend. Both men and women competed in the Brian Clay Invitational out in California, which brought in over 10,000 entries. The women's team had one provisional finish set by Alexia Deutscher in the javelin with her throw of 142 feet and 3 inches. Alongside this was a first-place finish by Yesenia Gonzalez, who navigated the 5,000 meters with a top time of 17 minutes and 41.14 seconds. A numerous amount of provisionals was earned by the men's team. Philip Landrum earned one in the 100 meters as well as the 200 meters alongside teammate Malcolm Gardner. Other athletes earning provisionals included Brett Meyer in the 1,500 meters, Colt Newell in the high jump, Ryan Stanley in the pole vault, and Matthew Piper in the decathlon. The Tigers also had places in the top 10, including a runner-up finish in the 5,000 meters by Justin Moore with a time of 14 minutes and 47.85 seconds. The Tigers are back in action in their final meet before conferences as they travel to Concordia for the Cloud County Invitational on Thursday. Tiger baseball continues to search for answers this season after losing a 3-game series against Central Oklahoma last Thursday. A strong pitching performance from starter Ethan Boo was not enough for the Tigers in Game 1. The freshman pitcher did not give up a hit over the first 6 and half innings before the Broncos took the lead for good with a 2-out rally in the bottom of the 7th. Fort Hays State also had its struggles at the plate, with the Broncos retiring 19 consecutive batters. Central Oklahoma would go on to win Game 1 for 4-1. In Game 2, the first frame showed the Tigers bats when Landon Irway, Ryan Grasser, and Talon Mullins-Ohm started the contest with 3 consecutive hits. Fort Hays would score 3 runs, however, Central Oklahoma scored 7 unanswered runs in the final 8 innings to earn the victory 7-3. Game 3 was no better for the Tigers as they were only able to produce 4 hits on the afternoon. Central Oklahoma plated 18 runs on 12 hits in the contest, a season high in the runs for the Broncos. Jake Taylor was charged with the loss for the Tigers after throwing 3 innings, allowing 7 runs on 6 hits with 5 walks and 1 strikeout. Ryan Brown relieved Taylor with 2.1 innings of relief, allowing 7 runs on 3 hits with 2 strikeouts and 4 hit batters. Fort Hays finished the series losing 18-3. Tiger baseball will be on the road again next weekend to face off against Central Missouri in a 3-game series. The FHSU softball team had an action-packed week with competing in 3 doubleheaders. Starting out on Wednesday against Newman University, the Tigers were able to make a comeback in both games after trailing behind. The Tigers picked up a win in the first game, finishing 3-1 and 3-2 in the second game. They would then go on to face Central Missouri Mules on Friday, where they wouldn't have as much luck. Fort Hays held leads in both contests, only to see each slip away. Central Missouri rallied for 3 runs in the final inning of Game 1 to win in walk-off fashion 4-3. The Mules would then come from behind twice in Game 2 to win 8-5. The Tigers were on the road again on Saturday, facing off against Southwest Baptist. It was the second straight weekend where the Tigers led in all four games of the weekend, losing the first 3 before winning the final contest. Southwest Baptist would win the first game 3-1, snapping their 16-game losing streak. Fort Hays would answer back, though, with pitcher Michaela Nelson tossing her first shutout of the season in Game 2. The Tigers went on to win the second game 5-0. FHSU is now 20-21 overall on the season and 11-13 in the MIAA. The Tigers will face off at home against Central Christian on Tuesday. The Mark Johnson's Tiger Basketball Camp has been scheduled to take place June 2nd through the 5th at Gross Memorial Coliseum. Individuals entering grades 2 through 12 can partake in this event. The camp is for both day campers and overnight campers. To find the online registration brochure, you can go to the FHSU Athletic website under Men's Basketball. Multiple meet records fell at an action-packed Kansas relays. The annual track meet took place last weekend in Lawrence, Kansas, with competitors from all over the nation. 2016 Olympian and former Kansas All-American Mason Finley managed to top his meet record performance in the discus from 2 years ago. His performance with a throw of 220 feet and 3 inches marked one of the best in the world, ranking him 5th on the international charts and 1st among Americans. Other new record holders included the Benton Oval Girls 4x1600 meter relay, Lee's Summit West Girls Distant Medley Relay, Glenwood's Janet Straft in the steeplechase, and Denver West Yason Sato in the men's steeplechase. 3 FHSU Tigers also competed in the meet. Julia Wagner earned an 18th place finish in the hammer throw, while Reed Rome and Robbie Schmidt turned in times in the 5,000 meter run, with Rome claiming a 10th place finish. The Kansas City Royals faced off against the New York Yankees in a 4-game series this past weekend. The Royals started off on a high note, winning the first game 6-1, but unfortunately that would be the only win the Royals would achieve in this series. The Yankees went on to win Game 2 6-2 and Game 3 9-2. Kansas City made it a close game in Game 4 after coming back in the 8th inning from behind. Alex Gordon would hit a 3-run home run to tie it up 5-5, and exactly 1 pitch later, Hunter Dozier hit a home run out to right center to take the lead in the 8th inning. However, this wasn't enough for the Royals as the Yankees came back in the bottom of the inning to tie the game and would later score the winning run on a single to center in the bottom of the 9th. The Royals will move on to begin the 3-game series with the Tampa Bay Rays starting on Monday. Tune in next week for another episode of TMN TV. To stay up to date with the latest news and information throughout the week, visit TigerMediaNet.com. Until then, remember, roar Tigers!